muchachos and muchachas, it's good to be back with you. And today I want to talk a little bit about infinite series. Now, the world is full of ideas that just seem like they cannot possibly be true, but they are. Infinite series might be one of those, okay? And we're interested in them because of what they do for us, and they're kind of some of the foundations of calculus. If you've had a calculus class, somebody may have talked to you about infinite series, all right? And when I did it, I couldn't get it to make any sense. So I'm going to try to help you, give you the big picture and a couple ideas that will help you sort out infinite series. That's what we're going to do here. So, the big idea. An infinite series is a series of numbers that you add together. All right? Here's an infinite series. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus, and it goes on forever, right? And there are reasons why you'd want to do something like this. Infinite series become interesting pretty much only when they converge to a number. Now, if an infinite series adds up and goes to infinity, it's not useful most of the time. If you can add it up and you get a number, an actual number, not infinity, all of a sudden that starts becoming useful. So the big idea here is there are times when you can add an infinite number of terms, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, forever, and get a finite number, all right? That's the idea. And when that series converges to a number, you've got something that you may be able to get some use out of, and we'll do that here in a second. So convergence. What does convergence mean? Convergence means when you add all those terms up, they go to a number. The one I just showed you does not converge. This one does. Okay? Anybody want to guess what that converges to? Is it obvious? No, it isn't obvious to me that it even converges. I can't look at that and tell you it converges. I mean, I can because I went and looked it up, but I can't look at that and just go, oh yeah, it's obvious that converges. I can't tell you it converges, and I can't tell you what it converges to. It turns out this converges to 1, all right? And it's easy to show. Let's see, if I go over here, I guess you can see this. Now, what I'm going to show you is a way to show this particular series converges. I don't think that what I'm going to show you works for all series. It works for this ones and ones like it maybe. So if I say, here's my series. Okay, and that goes up to 1 to the 2 over n, all right? And I'll call this, I don't know what this is, I'll hypothesize that it converges to some number n. Now, I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 2. Why? Because I was messing around and I found out it works. Certainly somebody hundreds or maybe thousands of years ago figured this out. I am not the first guy to figure this out. Okay, but I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 2, and I'm going to find out that 2n equals 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 8 plus da-da-da on forever and ever, okay? This is that. So if I say 2n minus n, which 2n is this, minus that turns out to be n, and that's 1. That's a demonstration of this, okay? So that's one big idea, that series converge, okay? Some of them, a small number of them converge, and when they converge to a number, they're useful. Okay, so there are all kinds of rules that describe convergence. There's not just one. If you go to a math book or Wikipedia or something like that, you'll find there's all kinds of convergence criteria out there in the literature. You can't just apply one to everything. The other one, another one of these things you think ought to work. This, actually, that's called a harmonic series, okay? The numerators are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Now, it's pretty obvious that when, and let's see, let's do it this way, 1 over n, okay? When n goes to infinity, then 1 over n goes to 0, right? therefore this converges, right? No. This series does not converge. Just because the terms go to 0 doesn't mean that the series converges. Okay, even though these terms go to 0, that doesn't mean the series converges. That other one, this one up here, that is a, I don't know, power series or geometric series, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. Okay, as n goes to infinity, that goes to 0 also. This one converges, this one doesn't. Okay, so convergence is something you have to analyze for every series, if that's what you want to do. But for the series we as engineers and scientists and stuff use, it's already taken care of. There are two series that if you're in engineering or science, you're going to use absolutely all the time. Okay, the first one is a Fourier series. Okay, and it looks like this. This is the geometric or the trigonometric version. There is a complex version of this as well that you may use instead. Just give me, I'm going to write out a couple terms for you here. So you can see what the series looks like. There. Okay, I get out of your way here. How's that? Does that look better? Okay. That's a Fourier series. It goes on forever. And what this does for you is this lets you approximate a periodic function using an infinite series. And not only does it work, it's also absolutely convergent. You never have to worry about convergence. If you're doing this, it converges. Okay? So this is great. The other one you'll see a lot is a Taylor series. Okay, well, to keep this short, I probably won't write the whole Taylor series out. What the Taylor series does is approximates a function with a polynomial of order n, where n can be anything you want. It is also an infinite series, and it also converges. So, Taylor series and Fourier series, infinite series, but they converge. So this is great. That's what makes them handy, and that's why you see them everywhere. Last thing I want to do, I completely learned it. Last thing I want to do, let's do a little history. Okay, Zenos Paradox. There was this Greek philosopher, old school philosopher, 2,000 years ago, named Zeno. Okay, Zeno, not Xena. That's something completely different. And Zenos Paradox is that, well, back up a second. What Zeno liked to do, and what a lot of the philosophers like to do, is they pose each other puzzles. They like to sit around at philosopher cocktail parties, I guess, and try to convince each other how clever they were. The problem is, because of the way they thought about philosophy, they would never, ever, ever make calculations. And God knows, with the exception of Eratosthenes, I guess, they never did an experiment, ever. That was considered beneath them. So they got this far from calculus and then stopped. Okay, so even though Zeno was doing this kind of stuff 2,000 years ago, it took till Newton and Leibniz in the late 1600s to actually close the loop on this and develop calculus. But they were this close. Hacks me off. Anyway, Zeno's paradox. Let's say you're trying to, a philosopher in his robes is trying to traverse some distance L. Let's say he's trying to go between two signposts on a road, I guess, something like that. Well, let's say his first step is L over 2. His next step is half of that. So his next step is L over 4. And he's doing this so that every step is half of the distance remaining. So his next step is L over 8. And his next step is L over 16. And so on. Have you seen that before? Sure, that's that series we just looked at. So his paradox was that this term will never actually be 0. He will have to take an infinite number of steps to go a finite distance. Well, in 2,000 years ago or whatever it was in Greece, they go, that's nonsense. That's a paradox. No, it's not. Absolutely, it's not. That's an infinite series. That is this series. That equals L times 1, because 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 16 and so on converges to 1. Multiply that by L, you get L. Well, that's this. It's not a paradox. It's a paradox if you don't know what an infinite series is, but once you know what an infinite series is, this is trivial. Okay, so there you go. Infinite series, the big idea is that an infinite number of numbers can be added together, an infinite list of numbers, let's say, can be added together and get a number, not infinity, under the right conditions. Okay? Sometimes those lists converge to a number, sometimes they don't. Much of the time they do diverge, they go to infinity. But when they do converge, we've got applications. We've got the Fourier series and we've got the Taylor series as examples. There are many others. All right, so there you go. Hope that helps. I'll talk to you next time.